A bunch of cases of COVID linked to Amazon warehouse and Brampton Transit. Billionaire wins legal battle to deny public access to BC lakes. Timing on that was perfect. Oh, there's dipshit. Timing on that was perfect. Yeah, I lit the joint and they fucking started dumping. Again, you guys are predictable as up. You're a bunch of sick things, man. I don't mean you have an illness that can be cured. I mean you are the illness.
That was that way they were shooting. I go Bob the Builder for the fix up if you acting funny. Yeah.
Are you dumb?
Certain mans get crushed on road and keep it hush. A nigga wrote a statement on me, who can I trust? No, my mom's denying a women's shelter, it was just us. A man trying to comfort a kid, I told him head back ever before they start aiming at your head back. You get that? Backhand the back of your head, they'll tell you head back. They wanna let they sick in the head, but then we get that. Trying to put a foreign on road, and then we head do it down like Titanic is high, find where her head at. Keep a young mind with me, that will make you say, ooh. One to the west, bumping that day east. In my city, little nigga, I'm a don like you. She wanna be my playboy bunny, I guess I'm you. I came from the Rex where they good with the text. SMS, got a text, now your wife giving back. Are you drunk? It's don't get close, so we the gang. It's don't get close, you will get smoked, you can hang. I'll shoot his neck, I'll shoot his chest, I'll shoot his fangs. It's don't get close, so we the gang. Rolled up, be the hardest stone, y'all butter sock. Block party turning up, till the dogs locked it up. All of them be cockle up, see him and they nodding back. Matching if I had a map, know what I would do to us. On the clock, I'll be bringing back the Holocaust. Hit him up, long distance, no contact. Love me when I pop up, treat me like a movie star. Now she wanna love me cause I'm back from the metal bar. Cocaine white, like I'm walking around with cotton buds. Treat it like an acrobat, flip it and I'm stretching down. Niggas talking like they G's, all they do is rap beat. Talking all that shit up, been on Snack DVD. Certain mans get crushed on road and keep it hush. Certain mans get crushed on road and
Billionaire BC's got the lakes locked down. It's interesting. But what's he gonna do with them?
General.
That's my concern.
Are you dumb? Better who, when, where, never fix up. I let my dreads hang, put 12K for my defense. If you're shorty meaning, then I might just have to fix. Undershot for a drug mark,
How many? That's a few hundred times in a row. That's that.
Community housing, north side of the Rex, places you weren't allowed in. Bitches used to act like they can't not wanna see me. Told her put these on so you can see me coming in 3D. Forrest Gump into the money, you looking like Bueller. You think it's not for everybody, I had to maneuver. You were shooting for the stars. That was that way they were shooting. I go Bob the Builder for the fix up if you acting funny. Yeah.
Are you dumb?
Certain mans get crushed on road and keep it hush. A nigga wrote a statement on me, who can I trust? No, my mom's denying a women's shelter, it was just us. A man trying to comfort a kid, I told him head back ever before they start aiming at your head back. You get that? Backhand the back of your head, they'll tell you head back. They wanna let they sick in the head, but then we get there. Trying to put a foreign on road and then we head there. Going down like Titanic is high, find where her head at. Keep a young mind with me, that will make you say, ooh. One to the west, bumping that day east. In my city, little nigga, I'm a don like you. She wanna be my playboy bunny, I guess I'm you. I came from the Rex where they good with the text. SMS, got a text, now your wife giving back. Are you drunk? It's don't get close, so we the gang. It's don't get close, you will get smoked, you cannot hang. I'll shoot his neck, I'll shoot his chest, I'll shoot his fangs. It's don't get close, so we the gang. Rolled up, be the hardest stone, y'all butter sock. Block party turning up, till the dogs locked it up. All of them be cockle up, see him and they nodding back. Matching if I had a map, know what I would do to us. Go on the clock, I'll be bringing back the Holocaust. Hit him up, long distance, no contact. Love me when I pop it up, treat me like a movie star. Now she wanna love me cause I'm back from the metal bar. Cocaine white, like I'm walking around with cotton buds. Treat it like an acrobat, flip it and I'm stretching down. Niggas talking like they G's, all they do is rap beat. Talking all that shit up, been on Snack DVD. Certain mans get crushed on road and keep it hush. Certain mans get crushed on road and keep it hush. No matter who, when, where, never. Are you done?
So all the shit I scattered the last 2 months or whatever just got watered. I know it's supposed to be -1, but if it's above -4, it shouldn't kill. If it's above -4, it should. I don't know what you're hating. There's double gardening now. Them damn niggers should be allowed to grow their own food. The issue? Fuck off. As long as it's not below -4, nothing should have died. It already started exploding. And the grapes I did too recently, so they just got the nice good soap in the rotten food.
You looked at his man, and his man feel it's real. Out here, shit hits the fan hard. I open niggas doors to their crib like the landlord. This shit wasn't planned, God. Niggas tried to humble me. I told this bitch to leave my house when she was trying to comfort me. This bitch thought I did this, so she told her bro to run for me. Came on a fight thing, but I wasn't. I made him run for me. Yeah, I got my gun out. Told this nigga turn around. Have 5 seconds to run, or you gon' flat the ground. Took off, fell face first when you heard the sound. I ain't even hit this nigga. I think the sound was out. Nigga went in shock, and I never seen his face again. I did it by myself. I wasn't trying to catch a case again. Next day, he called my phone off of my team. Told him come on my mat. It's gonna be a flat team. Run for my nigga, run for my nigga, run for my nigga, run for my. Body this one, man. A murder thing. Hey.
These people think I'm crazy kicking the garbage loose and stuff and kicking at the ice. So it'll melt parts, but I don't think the truck is going to melt. I don't know how much water there was. There was a bunch. Hail. They said there was hail. It all came down in an hour or 2.
All these fake niggas acting like a dick, yeah, talking like I let it rip, it won't be a first. Yeah, in the hood with my gun, niggas know I lurk, yeah. Back in the day when a nigga had his burner, all these fake niggas acting like I didn't kirk, yeah, talking like I let it rip, it won't be a first. Yeah, in the hood with my gun, niggas know I lurk, yeah.
Catch basins and the drains are so deep they can hold a shitload of water.
Call me on, pick it up, so my life has been rough. Niggas think it won't shoot, now bitch call my bluff. I'm chopping.
A shitload of these pipes are 24-inch masonry. They're fucking bricks.
It's outside, read it part, that's where I rock. Outside, that's where I rock. Stand a clip, hang the Glock. Dirty strap, cleans like I'm up. Hey. Coming out with the lava. Hey. Back in the day when a nigga had his burner, all these fake niggas acting like I didn't go. Say I cock out like I let it rip, it won't be a verse. Yeah, in the hood with my gun, niggas know I lurk. Yeah. Back in the day when a nigga had his burner, all these fake niggas acting like I didn't go. Say I cock out like I let it rip, it won't be a verse. In the hood with my gun, niggas know I lurk. Yeah. One day nigga gon' be rich for my dog, but the ghetto get her in a big crib. I don't check my fucking passport, never fucking cap.
Yo, come along, follow the mad mind controller who will hold you like a stiff dick, will work you like a flick trick. I'm crazy back to shit, it's getting ill sick. I'm deck out the birds, nigga, it's the big nicks.
Living Ligmar and Dub. Big mouth fishers are falsely. The demon is a liar. He would like to confuse us, but he will also mix lies with the truth to attack us. The attack is psychological, powerful, so don't external. Remember that. Do not
like shit, can't change it for an instant. Blood, sweat, and tears, now everyone's against it. Trying to step in our way, man, you ass will get popped. Got homies on every corner, none afraid to get shot. You hear it drop, here comes the end of your life. All of
Revolutionaries. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. I love the rain when it falls, yeah, I'm blessed. Of the fame and the cars and the jets. I had them thinking I was gone to the psych ward. I never left to live a life you would die for. Tell that hoe I can't save her, I'm the lifeguard. Maybe you can get the deed, but I might charge. Pull up to the spot, they're like, who is that there? Hands up, give me the loot like a cashier. What you thought, are you dumb? I don't play shit. I killed you and your brother with the same clip. All that bullshit you've been talking, boy, is ancient. I'm a different man now, leave you faceless. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest, yo. Verse the spot, then I'm leaving unidentified. Just a rental, had to drop it off at Enterprise. Shell casings in the whip, had to check it twice. I think my OGs for that shit, they give good advice. Yeah, this about to be a genocide. These motherfuckers will be dead, but I can never die. I'm the reason why your wife said she met a guy. Took 2 minutes and a push it just to get inside. Yeah, we are not the same kind. You gotta pay dues. I already paid twice. Y'all don't make moves, all you do is waste time. I'ma always be woke while you haters stay blind. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest.
Oh, this is interesting. That is a lot of quick.
Issue of food and protection to carry out humanitarian activities in the same vein by condemning states that send data on these issues. We interfere in their domestic affairs. This cooperation must be done on a certain basis and should not be hampered by conditions. The Security Council depends on the respect for humanitarian law and the strengthening of the humanitarian nature of assistance. The resilience of agricultural production systems in the light of climate change depends on climate change, the sustainable development, and does not have a direct link with the activities of the Security Council. In light of this, we do not deem it necessary to oblige the Secretary General to report twice a year to the Security Council on food security and on fresh situations of crises linked to armed conflicts. It has had this mandate since 2018, during which Resolution 2417 was adopted. Nothing prevents it for him from reporting to the Security Council on individual countries or on specific countries struck by famine. Madam President, Turning now to the substance of the subject pertaining to us today, we wish to underscore that capacity building at a local level, establishing markets for commodities, liberalizing exchange markets, and also drawing lessons from natural disasters could help us in helping economies destroyed by these situations. It's important also to counter the root causes of these problems and lift unilateral sanctions. In this regard, we welcome the recently taken decision by the new American government to modify the sanctions imposed against Ansar Allah. Without that, the situation in Yemen, and particularly famine, would have reached a point of no return. The Russian Federation agrees in the need to react quickly to the problem of famine. But this must be done in the context of mechanisms that address this matter professionally and that bear in mind the complex nature of the challenges faced by countries in the area of sustainable development. Thank you for your attention.
I thank the representative of Russian Federation for his statement, and I now turn the floor to the representative of Mexico.
Muchas gracias, señora.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Mexico is grateful for the convening by the United States to this debate on the impact of armed conflicts on famines and food security, which represents an opportunity to advance on a critical issue, which, as has been stated here, urgently requires our unified and collective decisiveness. The briefings that we have heard from such high-ranking officials enrich our perspectives, and the reports from the executive directors of Oxfam and the World Food Programme leave us in no doubt. This is a very serious crisis, and it is urgent for this Council to act accordingly. Armed conflict is the most significant cause of famine and the rise in food insecurity. We have already heard the figures from the World Food Programme. In the interest of time, I shall not dwell on them. We must therefore begin by recognizing out loud that food insecurity, just like famine, is exacerbated exponentially in situations of armed conflict. Problems in food production, processing, and distribution, as well as unequal access to food, escalate economic hardships and social disparities, and trigger situations of violence in fragile contexts and even in less fragile contexts. Security Council Resolution 2417 represented an important step in recognizing the links between conflicts and food insecurity. But as we have seen, recognizing it is not sufficient for resolving it. Food security is vital to conflict prevention. The reduction of hunger and malnutrition is necessary for social cohesion and for stability, as well as for peace, and all of this represents a crucial aspect in the post-conflict phase. They are essential to ensuring a fair and equitable reconstruction. Food insecurity, currently worsened by the pandemic, also disproportionately affects women and girls. According to the FAO, in low-resource countries, women represent 48% of the labor force in agriculture. But they have less access than men to practically all forms of support. This again is another powerful reason for the empowerment of women and girls if we truly want to eradicate hunger. Madam President, although on a different scale, it remains worrying that in the face of natural disasters resulting from the climate crisis, which is also incumbent on us, food chains are also affected, even temporarily, and this could generate serious situations of food insecurity in all regions of the world, including Latin America and the Caribbean. In sum, we are facing a situation that requires our immediate attention. Famine and food insecurity are central issues on the international peace and security agenda. Mexico underscores that, in accordance with the Rome Statute, deprivation of access to food constitutes a crime against humanity. Hence why we categorically condemn its use as a method of warfare. It is simply inadmissible. The Security Council must play a decisive role in ensuring that the parties involved in armed conflicts respect international humanitarian law and ensure unhindered access by the civilian population to humanitarian assistance. In this regard, we once again condemn, and do so in the strongest terms, the attack on the World Food Programme convoy in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, in which the Italian ambassador, a Carabinieri police officer, and an official from the program were killed. Our condolences go to their relatives. In accordance with Resolution 2417, the Council can and must continue to work to ensure that its decisions are grounded in the most relevant and current information from the field. We need reliable and timely data, as has been stated here. For this reason, we believe that the early warning systems of the Council and the UN as a whole must also be strengthened. Effective prevention to avoid famine is the ethical imperative incumbent on us all. We welcome the Secretary General's initiatives on a task force on preventing famine and his initiative to convene a summit without any exclusions on food systems. Indeed, pragmatic and proactive initiatives are required. Madam President, Mexico recognizes your leadership, and we echo those voices that are calling on the Security Council to strengthen all of its actions aimed at comprehensively addressing the multiple triggers of conflicts, including, and alarmingly so, food insecurity. Thank you very much.
The representative of Mexico for his statement. There are no more names inscribed on the list of speakers. Before closing, I would like to thank once again the Secretary General, Mr. Beasley, and Ms. Boucher, and all of the distinguished participants who joined us today. I would also like to thank the member states and regional groups which have so far submitted written statements on the subjects of today's discussion. Statements that are received by the end of the day will form part of the compilation of statements from this meeting, and we look forward to receiving them. The meeting is adjourned.
No one is safe unless all of us are safe. Today we can say that for sure. Thanks to Gavi, SEPI, WHO and UNICEF coming together. Thanks to the donors who made sure Gavi and SEPI had the resources required to get these vaccines. Sudan is the get vaccines, 828,000 doses. That means 414,000 healthcare workers will be able to get vaccination as soon as next week. This is the
out of the infinite plenitude of stars and planets in the solar system and other systems in the universe, it is almost mathematically certain that there exist other forms of life on other worlds. And someday, in the future, in 1,000 years, or in the next 10 minutes, daring travelers through space will make contact with the inhabitants of another world. But the question is, will we contact them first, or will they contact us? Come in. Mr. Broderick's Private Detective Agency? Check. My name is Ravis of Springfield. I would like to see you, Mr. Broderick. Check. What is it, Dolan? There's a guy outside. A kind of a guy? Oh, a great big guy with a big shining head and thick glasses like the bottoms of Coca-Cola bottles. And he looks like a professor or something. What I mean is, does he look like a client or a bill collector? He didn't say. Okay, Iron Man, send him in. Check. Mr. Graffius, Mr. Broderick will see you. Thank you. Mr. Broderick. In the flesh. Okay, Iron Man, step outside. Check. If you need me, I'll be outside. You'll have to excuse Mr. Dolan. He's a very youthful man if you happen to want a house moved or somebody's head unscrewed from their shoulders. His reflexes aren't too good. He's what you might call underorganized. I suspected as much. All right, Mr. Graffius, let's get down to business. Precisely. I would like your assistance in helping me locate something here in New York City. Just what are you trying to locate, Mr. Graffius? The Martian Embassy. Would you say that again very slowly? I came to New York to locate the Martian Embassy. Martian? Like in Buck Rogers? Precisely. Agents of the government of the planet of Mars. Dolan! What's the trouble, boss? Come out, he's a crackpot. Of course, if you wish me to leave, I will leave. But before I go, you might examine this. You'll find it quite authentic. Holy mackerel. A 5th-century note. Let me see that. Sit down, Mr. Graffius. Sit down. Make yourself comfortable. Dolan, get Mr. Graffius a light. Check. Okay, Mr. Graffius. Your remarks about our speckled friends, the Martians, I shall ignore. This being the year 1955, I assume you're joking. On the contrary, I'm completely serious. As it happens, I'm interested only in Martians at the moment. I see. Okay, shoot. It occurred to me in the course of my studies that we Earth people cannot possibly be the only intelligent form of life in the universe. Of the infinitude of stars, planets, there must definitely, mathematically, be others. Since Mars is older geologically, and since it is also an atmospheric planet, its evolutionary history could easily be similar to ours, you follow? So far, I can't say no. But if this is true, then they must have been watching us, observing us, for hundreds, possibly thousands of years. What for, blackmail? Shut up, Dolan. They know then that we are not far from achieving space travel. Atomic rocket ships that can travel to other planets. They also know we're a militaristic warlike race. We might conceivably set out to conquer and occupy Mars one day. In which case they'd try to get the jump on it. Precisely, Mr. Rutger. And how would they do that? For a civilization as old as theirs, space travel would be a simple enough matter. Flying saucers, I have read about it. Relax, Iron Man. Go on, Mr. Graffius. If you were planning to attack an unknown nation, what would be your first move, Mr. Broderick? Intelligence. Find out what the odds are. You have a very logical mind, sir. You send agents to scout the nerve centers of earthly civilization and advancement. Not in Kansas City or Equatorial Africa, my dear sir, but here, in New York City. The most technically advanced spot on Earth. Uh-huh. And, you want me to help you prove this theory of yours? Precisely. Expense does not interest me. This may take a very long time, Mr. Graffius. After all, nobody's ever seen a Martian. I assure you, they will be very ordinary-appearing people. Very likely they live together in downtown New York, close to the newspapers, publishers, the news cables, communication centers, and the financial center of Wall Street. Most certainly, they live in a private house with no servants to pry into their affairs. Some ordinary people who live in a private house in downtown New York.
I might just as well look up Martians in the classified section of the phone book. There's one other lead which might help you. What's that? It would be almost certain to subscribe to every conceivable type of newspaper, scientific journal, foreign language publication. Mm-hmm. Well, that might be something. Okay, Mr. Graphius. It's a deal. Excellent. I shall contact you tomorrow. Oh, before you leave. Yes? Just as a matter of interest. Why are you so interested in meeting up with these Martians? Mr. Broderick, I wish to avert the catastrophe of a successful Martian invasion of the Earth. Naturally. I cannot go to the police or the military. I'd be laughed out of existence. So I'm doing this privately. You seem to know all the answers, Mr. Graphius. Not all of them, Mr. Broderick. Not quite all the answers. Not quite yet. That boss. Here's a private address. Takes everything from Pick magazine to the Manchester Guardian. Listen to this. Pick, Look, Scientific America, the Daily News, the Daily Worker, the Police Gazette, the Journal of Engineering, Scientific Quarterly, American Psychiatric Journal. Let me see that. Oh, Doolin. Doolin, sometimes I wonder. What's the address on this? 9 West 124th Street. Which happens to be the Harlem branch of the Public Library. Oh. Now listen, noodle brain. Check all the renting agents. Find out every private house in downtown New York. And then cross-check with the magazine subscription departments of the scientific magazine. You got that? Check. I wonder. Boss, what's the sense of all this? We know there ain't no Martian embassy in New York. This crackpot is paying us $100 a day, and we gotta keep him happy. You understand? Yeah. Also, I've got a hunch that Mr. Graphius isn't looking for any Martian embassies. He's looking for something quite different. I'll start making with a telephone. Which house is it, Dylan? Right down there. Number 108. You find out anything? Not a thing. I've been watching the place for a week now. Nobody comes out, nobody goes in. I asked around, nobody knows nothing. You ain't been blabbing around the neighborhood that we're looking for the Martian embassy, have you? Boss, I'm stupid, but I ain't that stupid. Who'd you talk to? I struck up what you might call a casual acquaintanceship with those 2 girls standing with the baby carriages up the street. They're cute ones, real cute. Now look, Dylan, don't try to do anything intelligent. Just keep walking up and down. See? Check. I'm going back to the office to meet Graphius. See you later, boss. Hiya, beautiful.
Hiya, Flatfoot.
How did you know I was a detective?
Your socks are banging at the arches.
Well, stick around, beautiful. I'll be back in a few minutes. And we can make some beautiful music together.
Listen to Romeo, Helen.
The name is Doolin, honey. Iron Man Doolin.
Your line is getting rusty, Iron Man. What's wrong with him? He reminds me of my husband. The big, good-natured bluff. Helen, look! Oh, hey, Doolin! Doolin, look out! Look out! Helen?
Sorry, kept you waiting, Mr. Graphius. Sure. Doolin found a house down in Greenwich Village, privately rented. Number 108 Conklin Street. Nobody seems to know anything about who lives there, except that they subscribe to every paper and scientific journal put out. And also, they have a peculiar antenna on the roof. You don't suppose you're Mr. Doolin will try to get inside the house? No, he knows better. Mr. Broderick, I assure you, if that place is the Martian embassy... Doolin can take care of himself. Still, I wish you had informed me before. I've got him reporting back now. Excuse me. Hello. Yeah, speaking. Doolin? Yeah, he works. What? Oh, no. No, I can't think of any. Yeah, sure, okay. Yeah, I'll be right down. Okay, Lieutenant. Yeah, right away. I'll leave a message. Doolin is dead, Mr. Graphius. What? They found him splattered all over the sidewalk in front of number 108 Conklin Street. How did it happen? There were some witnesses. They said a building cornice dropped on it. The cornice? But how? It fell off the building next to 108, right on top of it. Come on, we can get a cab. I have to identify the body. Lieutenant, I'm Broderick.
Oh, there's your boy, Broderick. Not very pretty.
Oh, Mother in heaven.
That's a 1,000-pound hunk of concrete.
Where did it come from?
Knocked off the roof of 106.
Anybody see it?
Yes, a couple of maids pushing baby carriages. One was so shaken we had to send her to the hospital. The other one is hysterical, but she can't talk. Can't seem to get any sense out of her, though.
Mind if I talk to her?
Not at all.
I'll be back in a minute, Grappy. I'll wait here.
She's standing right over there with a patrolman on the beat. Hanson, this guy wants a few questions with a girl.
I told you what I saw. How many times I gotta tell you?
That's the dead man was a personal friend of mine. Would you tell me what happened, please?
Helen and I were standing in front of Rasmus Candy's store up on the corner. We both had the babies out. I worked for Mrs. Gillian on Washington Square North. He said hello and joked a little. And he walked down the street like he's been doing all week. Hadn't taken more than a few steps, but...
Please, miss. It's very important.
I tell them, but they don't believe me.
What do you tell them?
How it happened.
Tell me. Do all, please.
Well, first he squashed, and then the stone fell on it.
What do you mean he squashed?
They don't believe me, but Helen saw it too.
So what?
First he squashed, then it fell on it. He was smashed flat before it even hit it.
Now look,
That's the story, Broderick.
Please, please let me alone. Let me go home. I told you what I saw. Let me alone. Let me alone.
did you learn anything, Mr. Broderick? Huh? I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. It's crazy. Mr. Broderick, if I may make a suggestion at this point, perhaps it would be better if we drop the entire matter. What's eating you? First you come at me with a chain of nonsense that you're thinking real cash on. And now when we hit the solid trail, you want to call off the dogs. Well, maybe you operate that way, but Broderick doesn't. May I ask then, what do you intend doing? As soon as the cops clear out, this place quiets down. I'm going to pay a personal call on the Martian embassy. Whatever number 108 is. Whatever you are, open that door. 2 heads of 10 fingers, and I'll drill you like a platoon of rookies.
Yes?
Oh.
Well, young man,
Excuse me, ma'am. Is the lady of the house at home?
I'm the lady of the house.
Well, my name is Broderick. I represent the Manhattan Child Adoption Center. We're soliciting funds and clothing for stranded and unadopted children. I wondered...
Oh, won't you come inside?
Well, we don't usually...
Oh, not. I'm old enough to be your grandmother. Besides, my son, Lauren, is working at home.
Your son?
He's a bibliographer. He writes summaries of articles and books from scientific journals and publications for libraries and universities.
I see.
Well, sit down, Mr. Broderick. We get so few calls, and I do like to visit.
Oh, thank you.
Now, what was it you wanted to talk to us about?
Oh, well, I wondered if you or your son... There's nobody else living here.
No, just Lauren and I. I'll have to ask him about the contribution, but I'm sure he'd like to.
Good. Thank you very much. I'll send the representative to collect.
Oh, please, stay a moment. I was just about to have tea. Let me pour you a cup.
Oh, no, thanks, really.
No, young man, I insist.
Well, thank you.
I'm getting awfully tired of having tea by myself every afternoon.
You know, I'm not very much of a tea drinker, but this seems to have a strange taste.
It's my own recipe. The secret is in the brewing.
It's sweet. It's almost metallic.
It takes a few sips to get used to, like olives.
Uh-huh. Well, I think I'd better be running along.
Oh, but you haven't finished your tea, Mr. Broderick.
I better be going. I'm late.
Oh, you're not being very polite. Do finish your tea.
No, really, I feel funny.
Oh, Uncle Lauren.
No, I'm leaving. This
is he?
Oh, I'm sure Lawrence can help you. I'll call him.
No.
Oh, but I must. Besides, you aren't well. Lawrence! Lawrence, hurry!
Out of my way.
No, you must stay.
Trust my teeth. Let go my arm.
Lawrence!
Let go. Get out of here. What heaven?
The other one, that Broderick, he was here. I dropped his teeth.
He got away. Fool, idiot.
Go after. Use the pressure ray.
Risk another murder on our doorstep. Are you insane?
You suspect.
We'll have to take our chances. We'll have to think of some other way.
How did they find us?
I don't know how, but I'm certain someone else sent them.
Who?
I don't know. I'm afraid to let myself think. It might be them. What? Where you going, you fucking fool?
What is that?
Get away from me. What's the trouble here?
He's drunk and consulting people. I saw him come out of the house there.
108?
That's the one. He bumped into a gentleman and then he pulled at my arm.
All right, miss, I'll take care of it. Come along, mister. I'm going to give you a break and take you back to the wife and kids.
No, you can't.
Sick, is it? What's the matter?
Drug. They drugged me.
Who drugged you?
Number 108. Martian.
Who?
Martians. Number 108. The Martian embassy.
Well, I've seen them with pink elephants, rabbits, and mice, but you're the first one who's got marks.
That's true, I tell you.
Oh, come on.
Now let's go and talk like this back there. Don't
Come on.
kill me. Look, I gotta make you understand.
Yeah, help me understand.
Please, my name is Broderick. I'm a private detective.
We'll find out about it. Here, don't fight.
Officer, please listen. I'll give you anything. I'll give you $1,000. Please listen. For God's sake, Yes, sir. Why, Broderick.
Did you know this much, Gurney?
Why, that's my son, Broderick.
He's a pretty bad
Oh, dear. He was doing so well at the Alcoholic Society. He must have gotten off again.
Looks like he's ready to pass out.
Lawrence!
What is it, Mother? Oh.
Your brother, Broderick, has been drinking again.
Look out, he's passed out. I'll take care of him, officer. They've handled this sort of thing before. Can you manage okay? We'll be fine, thank you.
You've been very kind, Doctor.
Nothing at all, Granny. I know how it is with these outfits. Well, I'll be seeing you.
Martian embassy. Martian.
Oh, my head. Oh, Mr. Broderick is regaining consciousness, Mother.
What happened? I can't get up.
Do not struggle, Mr. Broderick. It'll be impossible for you to rise from that chair. The pressure from this ray will keep you there.
Ray? What? Who are you?
You've already guessed, Mr. Broderick.
Ray? This really is?
Martian Embassy, yes. You have the honor to be the first prisoner of the Imperial Government of Mars.
Prisoner?
Yes, after the invasion, of course, you will all be our prisoners.
What sort of business is this?
No business, Mr. Broderick. As your people will soon find out. Our preparations for invasion are nearly completed now. As soon as we give the signal, our armed forces will launch a surprise attack. And then the Earth will be ours.
You're crazy.
Not half as mad as you, Mr. Broderick, to come muddling so foolishly into our affairs. That was a fatal mistake.
Who is that? There's no accident then.
Assuredly not. We found it necessary to use a pressure ray on your friend. The block of concrete was an afterthought. We thought it might help to avert suspicion.
All right. What happens now?
If you cooperate, you can look forward to a quick, painless death like your friend, Mr. Doolan.
If not?
This pressure ray has many delicate adjustments. It can move a pin, or it can crush a boulder. Let me demonstrate. You'll see, Mr. Broderick. As if an invisible vice was crushing you.
What do you want?
The name of your client. We are interested in knowing who is so anxious to locate the Martian Embassy.
The names of my clients are confidential.
Oh, well.
All right.
Very fast, Mother. seen the wisdom of speech.
His name is
Graphius.
Graphius?
Yeah.
An unusual name for an Earthman.
Describe him. Oh, I don't know if I really can. Mother. Describe him. He's tall. Got a big forehead. And about 60. He wears thick glasses. Cool.
Sorry. He sounds like one of them.
Yes, he does. Contact the planet. Tell them we suspect that our plans are known. Ask for an acceleration of invasion days.
It won't worry about me.
I am sorry, Mr. Broderick, but I am afraid you know too much now. In exactly 5 seconds, you will feel the full impact of the ray which faces you. I would suggest that you relax and meet your fate calmly.
Now, wait a minute.
You will feel no pain, just a wall of force engulfing you.
Listen,
5.
No, you can't do that.
4.
This is human.
I know, but we are not human. 3.
Yeah, but...
2.
No!
1. Now.
Sorry.
Nothing's happened. The magnetic field is dead.
Get it working. We've got to get rid of this one.
Now listen. Listen, you right. I can't understand what's gone wrong with the ray. Why would it suddenly stop like that? Perhaps I can explain.
But, Graphius, it's you.
Yes.
Do it.
Stand back from the pressure ray, please. It will not function anyway. I have decontrolled your field.
Lauren, it's one of them. They found us.
Did you think we wouldn't? At first you've not harmed my friend, Mr. Broderick. He's been very useful to me.
Brother, am I very glad to see you. Talk about the Marines landing in the nick of time.
You're free to move now, Mr. Broderick.
I don't know how you got in here, Graphius, but stick around. These babies are really marching, just like you said. They're planning to invade the Earth and take over.
There will be no Martian invasion.
You keep these characters covered, I'll get the police.
There will be no need for the police. I intend to handle them myself.
If the police will...
Do not call the police.
Why not?
You fool of an earthling. Don't you realize with whom you are dealing? The invasion of Earth by Mars will be like child's play compared.
Oh, Lord! Holy mackerel. They just flattened out.
Like your friend, Mr. Doolin. I detest the use of violence where the intellect can rule. But unfortunately, the Martians are a threat to us. They must be destroyed.
I believe you now. Well, in 5 seconds, that'll finish me. I'm glad you didn't waste any time.
There is little time to wait. The Martian invasion was to take place next week.
Yeah, Hey, they never said that. How do you know?
You would not comprehend.
Wait a minute. There's some things here I do understand. A second ago, that pressure ray didn't work. Now you're using it like it was a toy. How did you get in here anyway? Who are you? Another one of those Martians?
No, Mr. Broderick. I happen to be a Venusian.
What?
A representative of the planet Venus.
Venus? That's impossible.
Not at all. The Martians are really an inferior race. The Venusians are much farther advanced. As much as we are over you, Mr. Broderick. The Martians would simply have conquered and enslaved your people. We Venusians felt compelled to exterminate you completely.
That's impossible.
No. Now that we have disposed of the Martian threat, was it better stop us? Our invasion begins tomorrow, noon. By nightfall, the Earth will be ours.
You're completely cuckoo. Oh, this is really
You
annoying.
needn't edge toward the door, Mr. Broderick. You're thinking of running for hell, aren't you now? I can read your thoughts quite clearly.
Suppose you're gonna knock me off like our Martian friends.
On the contrary, go ahead.
Leave?
Why not? Why don't you try it, Mr. Broderick?
Because the minute I turn my back, you're gonna let me have it.
Suppose you try it and see. I'm no interest in stuff.
Go ahead. All right, Buster, you asked for it.
It'll do you no good. No good! You a thief! Here, what do you think you're on the top?
The officer, listen to me.
Oh, it's you, the one with the mask.
Yeah, that's right. What? That story is true. They're inside that house, inside number 108. He killed them.
Who killed?
Graphius. He's the leader of the Venusian invasion.
Venusian invasion?
That's right. Tomorrow at noon, they're going to take over the Earth. Now listen, go in that house.
Martians, now Venusians, eh? Okay, that's enough for me. Come on.
We haven't got much time. Hey, wait. Where are you taking me?
Bellevue Psychiatric Ward, my friend. Come on.
Bellevue, no!
Come why don't you listen to me? Why are you such a fool? Let go of me! Here's the best one. No! I tell you, it's gonna be an invasion! The Venusians are gonna invade Afghanistan! You gotta believe me! You gotta believe me! Why don't they listen? Why don't they believe me? You have just heard another adventure into the unknown world of the future. The world of Dimension. Next week, the story of Riesling, the strange blind singer of the spaceways. He traveled the space lines from Mars to Venus to the moons of Jupiter. No captain could refuse to carry Riesling and his battered guitar. He sang of all the wonders of the galaxy, but his greatest song was of the sight he would never see, the green hills of Earth. Tonight, Dimension X has presented The Embassy, a story by Donald A. Wollheim, as adapted for radio by George Leopard. Joseph Julian was heard as Broderick, Barry Kroger as Gracie. Your narrator was Norman Rose. Music by Albert Berman, engineer Don Hammond. Dimension X is produced by Van Woodward and directed by Edward King.
Stay tuned for Lucille Ball in My Favorite Husband, next on Theater of the Mind.
I'm so over this.
At the time for $18 per share. Along came the pandemic, though, and that was revised down to $5 per share. But the European...
Fine. We wear a mask and everything. We're really careful.
I'll meet earnings today. Anthony Acomi, TD Bank.
They reported a net loss of $1.60 per share. Their revenues tumbled 94% same quarter from 1 year ago.
Your Transat stock did close higher at $5.70 above that takeover price. Canadian dollar 79.79 cents US. This is 680 News.
Did you know that companies with a blog get 55% more web traffic and 78% of web users research products online before buying? If you're not creating fresh, unique content on your website, you could be missing a lot of potential customers. That's where Numero Uno Web Solutions can help. Our professional Canadian writers create online content that moves your company to the top of the list. A 4.9 out of 5-star Google rating speaks for itself. Find out more at numerounoweb.com.
At Sicily Honda, our family wants your family to drive a great deal during our Honda Dream Garage event. Right now, get $3,000 in consumer cash on all in-stock 2020 CRVs. Plus, enjoy 0.99% rates on all 2020 Civics up to 60 months lease and 84 months finance. Go to SiciliHonda.com for details and hurry into Sicily Honda, 88 Steeles Avenue, just west of Young. I'm Hugh Sicily, and we're family-driven.
680 News Time, 10:30.
It's a cotton plantation. That's not right to say, man.
Toronto's #1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News.
It's Thursday, March 11th. I'm Christy Ritchie.
I'm Scott Burnett. Here's what's making news right now.
Provincial health officials say our progress in the fight against COVID-19 has stalled, and our behavior over the next few weeks is critical in determining the quality of our summer. Toronto police asking witnesses to come forward after a man suffers serious injuries in a hit-and-run in Scarborough.
Assurances from AstraZeneca Canada that its vaccine in this country is safe despite blood clot concerns in Europe.
Scarborough's The Weeknd says he's boycotting the Grammys, citing discrimination.
A Canadian is in contention on the PGA Tour while the Leafs pick up a comeback win. Sports at 45.
The record-setting run for stock benchmarks continues.
The province's ability to control the spread of COVID-19 variants over the next few weeks is going to set the tone for what kind of summer it's likely going to be. This group says that while the drive to vaccinate residents and workers in long-term care has paid off in declining deaths and illness, progress against the virus has stalled outside of that sector. The group says the actions of people over the next few weeks will determine the quality of life over the summer. Majority of residents of First Nations communities in British Columbia have received at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccine, but most Indigenous people who live off reserve are still waiting. BC's limited eligibility during the second phase to those over the age of 65. Dr. Shannon McDonald of the First Nations Health Authority says this has been a challenge.
Our communities have expressed very clearly that the limitation of their population to only those that were residents on reserve was culturally very challenging. That chiefs and leaders felt responsible for all of their citizens, no matter where they lived. And we've been able to reflect that in the work that we're doing.
Supreme Court says
From the
same
Global
thing.
News Desk, I'm Randy
You guys
Kilburn.
are fucking retarded. Supreme Court ruled that. Supreme Court ruled that in like 2012. No, yes. 10, I think it was 12, that one. There was rulings in 2010, 12, and 14 about this shit.
Overnight tonight, down to a low of -1.
You're not allowed to tell them, oh, well, since you don't live on the reserve, therefore. No, you're not. That is not provincial, it's federal. What the fuck are you people doing?
Summer vaccines are a great start, but health officials say now is not the time to lax mask wearing, hand washing, and physical distancing measures as case counts continue to rise, threatening a dreaded third wave of COVID-19.
680's Phil Montino joins us to break it all down.
Dr. Steiny Brown says vaccination in long-term care has paid off, but progress otherwise has stalled. Declines in community cases and test positivity have leveled off, and cases are increasing in most public health units as more people move around.
The proportion of cases that are new variants of concern is also increasing steadily.
According to health officials, our ability to control the rate of spread will determine whether or not we return to normal or face a third wave of infection.
So we're still in the early stages of our journey through the minefield. Our intensive care units are still under pressure, and a sudden jump in admissions to these units will put our hospital system under
military
The projections
references.
show the best case scenario in 3 weeks is just under 2,000 cases a day. Worst case would be up to 8,000.
Damn, I got
Health
past
officials
it.
stress
I could have been
masking and
cooking this
social
whole time.
distancing will help keep spread down, as well as hospitalizations and deaths.
So
Until
does the
Monday,
AM
6
static
News
make
Channel
that more
10,
authentic for you? That station I can't pull up on this.
Police who say a man is in hospital with serious injuries after a hit and run in Scarborough. Toronto police say it happened at around 8 tonight in the area of Victoria Park Avenue and Consumers Road, that's just south of Shepherd. The victim's injuries are not believed to be life-threatening. Constable Alex Lee says police are now canvassing the area for anyone with further information.
They're speaking with witnesses with regards to the driver and vehicle having fled the scene.
And police have yet to release a description of that vehicle.
680 News Time 10:34. We have an update tonight from Ottawa, where the House of Commons has approved a revised bill to expand access to medical assistance in dying, eventually including people suffering solely from mental illnesses. The revised version of Bill C7 passed by a vote of 180 to 149, supported by most Liberal and Bloc Québécois MPs, with Conservative NDP and 2 of 3 Green MPs opposed. The bill is intended to bring the law into commonplace with a 2019 Quebec Superior Court ruling which struck down a provision that allows assisted dying only for intolerable suffering individuals whose natural death is reasonably foreseeable.
680 News Time 10:35. More than 300 pharmacies in Toronto, Windsor, and Kingston
The suicide disease.
vaccines today, but there was plenty of
Doesn't kill
confusion
you.
at the get-go about who was eligible. 680's Mark Douglas joins us outside the Shoppers Drug Mart at Coxwell and Danforth.
For most of the day, people waited patiently in line for their first dose of AstraZeneca. This Shoppers Drug Mart on the Danforth near Coxwell ran out of doses mid-afternoon. Most people in line here today were surprised they could do this now. Some people were turned away by other pharmacies.
I was a bit concerned because I'm born 1956, but right at the end, so I've been only 64, 2.5 months.
The AstraZeneca vaccine is going in the arms of people 60 up to and including 64 years old. I spoke to this man in the lineup about whether or not he feels the vaccine rollout has been handled well.
Frankly, no, not really. I mean, it's not exactly as centralized maybe as it should be, but the point is that it's getting done. By hook or crook, it's going to get done.
On the Danforth, I'm Mark Douglas.
Concerns continue to circle around the AstraZeneca vaccine after 5 countries in Europe suspended the shot due to possible links to blood clots. But AstraZeneca Canada is assuring us that doses here won't have the same issues. 680's Madison Fitzpatrick has the details.
After a small number of reports regarding blood clots and other